back by popular demand. My wife, Baby Doll, with a fantastic recipe that's been getting wiped out every Sunday. It even rivals the one I have up, and it is, tell us about it.
Mac and cheese. Well, thank you so much for the invite, and glad to share finally a mac and cheese recipe that works. It's simple. I'm all about simple. Maybe only 2 steps, and there you go.
And very few ingredients compared to mine. I mean, you got 1 type of cheese, some macaroni, and some milk, and a couple other things, but we're going to get to that. And she's going to show you how to do it, what we do it in, the Instant Pot. That's the one, this is what she likes. Y'all know I'm a ninja guy, but she loves the Instant Pot, so we're going to do it right there. I'm John Sanders, and this is my wife, Baby Doll, and we'll be right back. Okay, so Baby Doll here is fixing to tell us exactly what to do. And then she's got to skip out. But she's turning it over to me and I'm going to finish it, and she assures me it's simple. So we're going to see. So tell us exactly what happens and how you do it, and make it in instructions I can understand. Okay. So I got to do it.
So the simple thing that I found is you can cook your macaroni or cavatappi. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, I think so.
And cool, so you could do it the night before. So that makes it really simple. Normally, I cook that around 7 or a couple hours before I put it in the Instapot. So let this cool. Your ingredients that you will mix to pour on top of your mixture of your macaroni, cooked macaroni, will be 24 ounces of cheese. Just reserve a cup for your mixture on top. So reserve a cup of your sharp cheddar. Sorry, I didn't say that, but sharp cheddar cheese. So that's 24 ounces of cheese, a cup and 3/4 cup of milk, 2 eggs, and 12 ounces of evaporated milk, 1/4 cup of butter, and dash of salt. And it really makes it look pretty to use paprika.
All right. So that's just a sprinkle on top, right?
Yes,
once it's done.
I like that. That kind of just adds the visual for you to have a great turnout of mac and cheese. And yes, sorry, I'm going to have to leave, but the better half in the kitchen will do my recipe. I hope it turns out well. Can't wait to read the comments. Thank you so much.
And that's what we're about to do. I'm going to go ahead, I may change it just a little bit. I hadn't told her this part yet, but I'm going to change it. I may do it all in one step instead of doing the overnight thing. But the point is how she does it works great because you've got one step out of the way. So, y'all hold on. We're going to get this started and I will be right back. Okay, it's just us now. Baby Doll has left. Now, she mentioned that she cooks it at around 7 in the morning. I think you could do it the night before just as easy as you can at 7 in the morning, and that's one of the reasons I'm changing it a little bit to see just how it does, and I have a feeling it'll be fine. She does it at 7 in the morning on a Sunday because that's when we have it. Well, she'll cook it at 7 in the morning. She takes it out, lets it cool, she sets the liner out and lets it cool until around 9:30 when she leaves out for church. So it gets a little time to cool, and then at 9:30 she sets it back in and adds all the other ingredients and puts it on low. So what we're going to do, we're going to do it all in one step. Now again, my point is you could do this the night before. It wouldn't matter, and this step would be eliminated from your cook. The thing is, the Instant Pot or any electric pressure cooker, if you ask me or us, cooks pasta better than anything we've ever tried to cook it in, or it's as simple and easy. That's the main thing, and it's perfect. Now, that entire 16-ounce box is in here. You do not go by the directions on the back. You can pretty much forget those because it cooks it completely different. It calls for like 5 quarts of water. Now what you need is 4 cups. No, you need a cup per every 4 ounces of pasta. You need 1 cup of water. So I also put a tablespoon of salt. It's in here. This entire box is in here. And there is 4 cups of water. We're going to add that and this 2 tablespoons of salted butter. I mean, it doesn't matter on salted or not salted. I wouldn't think you're putting salt in there anyhow. And that's what we use. And I mean, I really not, Land O'Lakes, there's nothing wrong with Land O'Lakes or I wouldn't be using it. But mainly what I'm saying is European style butter. I think it's it's got a higher fat content. I think it works in a lot of recipes a lot better. I think if you try it, you'll like it. So we're going to get this started. I'm going to bring you back. I'm going to show you the timing and how I do it and what I get set up. And then we're going to cook this pasta. And we're not going to do any delay. We're just going to add all the ingredients. Be right back. Y'all hold on. Okay, for perfect pasta in an Instant Pot. I've already mentioned the water. I'll go over it again. It says right here for a full box, which would be the 16 ounces, you would use 5 quarts of water. Again, don't. Every 4 ounces of a pasta, you use 1 cup of water. All right, then it wants a tablespoon of salt. I do that. The next part that really matters, this right here, your time. If it says 8 minutes for al dente or whatever degree of doneness you want, you cut that in half. Now you'll find on the internet a lot of people say cut it in half and subtract a minute. I don't think so. I don't. And you're going to see why, or you'll see why. If you think about it this way, when you're cooking it, if you're going to do a natural release, and if you've got an Instant Pot, you know what I mean, that you're going to add a lot of time, because a natural release adds a lot of time. Well, we're not doing a natural release. We're going to do what I call a semi-quick release. And that is really important, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean when this pasta is done. We're doing a semi-quick release. So, and sometimes you have to, and I'll get to that in a minute. But anyhow, here is the 16 ounces of pasta. There's 2 tablespoons of butter that it doesn't even call for. Some do, some don't. I put it in. And 16 ounces, I'm using 2 tablespoons. Here are my 4 cups of water. There they go. Like I said, the tablespoon of salt, kosher of course, is already in there. Put the lid on, put it to seal. We're going to go high pressure. Let's see. It's been a while since I've used this. You go high pressure or pressure on high. And it called for, as you can see right here, 8 minutes. So we're going for 4 minutes, and it's already going. And that was set at 4 minutes. So we're cooking, once it comes to pressure, it's going to cook for 4 minutes. And then I'm going to show you what I mean by the semi-quick release, which you need one of these for, or some type of glove. I'll be right back when that's started. Okay, there goes the timer. So the 4 minutes is up. Now here's what I mean by the semi-quick release. And I'll also say this when it quits beeping, is the reason you may have to do this is because sometimes with pasta and water or whatever, it'll try and blow liquids out of that vent. So you just have to be ready to cut it right back off. So what we want to do is get that red pen down, and we want to do it a little at a time. That's why I like to have a glove. I can keep my hand right there and see, I'll turn it off where you can hear me, and see how much liquid is going to blow out of here. Because if a lot blows out, I'm just able to shut it right back down, just like that. And you can see, so far, no liquid. A lot of times you get liquid. That's why I don't subtract a minute, because I'm going to do a quick release. Well, if I was doing this a lot, you're kind of, it changes everything. This pasta will be perfect. So, there comes some liquid. See it right there? So I'm going to slow it down a little bit. In fact, I may not turn it all the way off, but you can see the liquid that was coming out. But even when I slow it down, I don't have to turn it all the way off. I can just slow it down. So, I mean, I think you see what I mean. And there comes some liquid. So we may let it rest completely closed just a minute. But that is a semi-quick release right there. And it's not a big deal. It happens a lot with pasta. It foams and stuff in there. So, it's not a big deal. It's nothing to worry about. If you need to, you let it sit a minute. So that's what makes it a little bit hard to make it a definite number. If you ask me, there's not a definite number. But there goes our pen, and that's what we wanted. So let's see how this pasta looks. And we're going to stir that up and let it sit just a minute. But let's get some out right now. Get an idea what it looks like. And that liquid will evaporate off. It doesn't even hurt if it don't. That's like pasta water. It's not a bad thing to have. But if you want to drain it, obviously, and we made some of it, you just pour it in here and pour it in the colander and drain that water off. Okay, so I've got pasta in my mouth. I did decide to do one more thing because this is just as easy to do as any of it. We're going to pour this off into this colander because I've got a bowl under it. And I'm not sure you can see what I'm doing, but I'll fix that. We're going to pour this off. It's not going to hurt anything. Even if you want to use the water, it'll be there. That's a great, a very neat little thing right there. So let's just see how much water was left over. Very little. And it's going to take me a minute to get to you. There is excellent pasta water. I mean, people use that. It's good to have. And all I'm going to do is let that sit right here. I'm going to put this lid on lightly. I'm not going to cover it completely because I don't care if some of the waters evaporate. This right here that is excellently cooked pasta. I don't have a good way of showing that. I can tell you by tasting it. You can see by how much pull is on it. It's not overcooked is my point. Okay, so the situation where this maybe had been in the refrigerator overnight, this is where you would start. Here's the 2 eggs. I'm going to put them in there. I'm going to put those in first and make sure they're well beaten eggs. I'm going to add the 12 ounces of evaporated milk. I've got 1 3/4 cups of whole milk. I'm going to add that. And mix that up a little bit. Now, if you remember, she said it called for melted butter. Well, that is softened as it gets. So my intentions are to put it in the Instant Pot and let it kind of melt because it's still plenty warm right now. And if it were not, you'd just heat it a little bit and maybe you'd want to melt that a different way. But that's how I'm doing it tonight. So now, 16 ounces of the sharp cheddar cheese. Gonna mix that in like that. And mix this one in like this. Just common sense. And pour it in there and stir it up. And as you can see, I have left one to the side to where when this is all completed, and this is if you did the method of setting this to the low crock pot setting and added it right before you went to church like she does, when you get in, after 2 or 3 hours, you just sprinkle this over the top. Okay, so here is the Instant Pot, and I'll show this. It definitely, took a little bit of had some residue on it from that blow off it had. All right, our mixture's right here. I'm just going to stir that up a little bit, and you can see the pot still has. In fact, she sprays it. And I'm going to too because she does. And I don't want to change her recipe at all. And I'm not sure it needs it or not, but that's what I'm doing. There goes the butter in. And the Instant Pot, as you can see, is still plenty warm because that butter is melting in a hurry. I'm going to dump the pasta. I got to find somewhere to set this and wipe my hands off. I'm going to dump the pasta in there. And that pasta is still warm too, so that'll help melt that butter. And I mean, you can see, it's been a few minutes and that Instant Pot obviously is still warm. So, get that off of there. I'm going to dump this in right now. And I'm not going to put the water. If I need it, I got it. And again, you can see it. That's good starchy water that a lot of restaurants use. It's a great thing to have. I'm going to mix that up with that butter. Let that butter melt just a little bit. Make sure you can kind of see what I'm doing, and I think you can. And I'm just doing the common sense mix up stuff. So, I think the butter is plenty melted, all it needs to be. So now I'm going to pour the cheese and milk mixture right on top of it. Well, I may have made a little mess myself, but between me and that blow off on the Instant Pot, I'll have some things to clean, but no big deal. Now I'm just going to combine or mix this real well, and I'll show you what it looks like. In fact, we'll show you right now. Just going to do that right there, and you can see the liquids in there, the milks and the cheeses and all of the above. So I got a little on the sides, not crazy about that, but it's not going to hurt anything. Take my word, this gets devoured every time. All right, so now set this off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid back on, and I'm going to leave it open. I don't do sealed. Slow cook. And then if you'll notice, every time you press slow cook, it goes from less to normal to more on that red light. I think you can see that. If you can't, if you press your slow cook button, it moves across. And it says less, normal, or more. If you ask me, that's low, medium, and high. I'm going to put it on high for what we're doing today. And it's set for 4 hours. So, I mean, you can change that to whatever you want. I'm going to move it to, say, an hour. And then we're going to get this started. Right, like I said, it's been a while since I've used a pressure pot. I usually use my Ninja, and I'm looking for that. Oh yeah, you don't have to have a start button. Bear with me, y'all. It's taking me a minute. We're gonna let that go for a little while. I'm gonna mix it around a little bit. I'll bring you back and show you how it looks every once in a while. So y'all hold up. Okay, so we're at 35 minutes of elapsed time. In other words, it's counted down 35 minutes. There's 25 minutes left in the hour. I've been checking it along the way, and I'm telling you, I think it is ready to put the cheese on in 35 minutes. And I'm going to show you why. That right there is, everything looks good. The cheeses are melted. And I'll show you a little better. The liquids are cooked in, and that's the consistency I want. So 35 minutes on high looks like it's going to be really close to what she does, which works out perfect for her with 3 hours of low. And there's times you need both, but let's see. Let me taste it and see what I think. And I mean, I'm good. There is nothing wrong with that. So what I'm going to do is sprinkle the last cup. Make sure you can see and everything's going on. In fact, I'm in front of the camera like I always do. Just spread this last 8 ounces or 1 cup of cheese around in here. And it'll melt and be excellent. And yeah, and this is what she does. She does this and then puts the lid on. And sometimes, you know how Sundays are. It takes a while for everybody to get here, and sometimes it's another hour, sometimes it's another 30 minutes, usually an hour. I'm going to do this a little bit early. But, whoops, not like that, I'm not. But my point is, it'll sit like this right here for about an hour, we'll just say. And that cheese will melt, and it is absolutely excellent, and everybody, as I said, devours it. The pasta's perfect. The cheese blend, and I think what does it, maybe those eggs, but it sets, and I mean, it is good. So, anyhow, we're going to let that melt down just a little bit. We're at 22 minutes, so once that time's out, if I need to reset it, I will, to make that cheese melt down. But anyhow, y'all hold up, I'll be back. Okay, there it went. There is the end of the hour. I put this glass lid on where I could kind of watch that cheese, but quite honestly, you can see the lid kind of gets condensation on it. You can't see it, but I don't need to see it. It looks excellent. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I did shake a little more paprika on it, and I'm going to probably do that again. But right now, to kind of simulate what would happen on a Sunday after 1 hour instead of 3. Now, her idea, there's nothing wrong with it. There's no doubt. Her 3-hour situation works perfect, and it doesn't need to be messed with. I just did it tonight for video purposes, and because, you know, she couldn't hang around. Well, what we're going to do, what we do on a Sunday morning. So, I'm going to hit cancel. We're going to let this sit just like we would on a Sunday, right here in this container. And I'll say in 30 minutes, we're going to take a look back, and I'm going to get a bowl out and show y'all what it looks like in a bowl, and I'm going to eat some of it. So y'all hold up. Okay, so about 25-30 minutes later, let's see what we have. Shake some of that water off. I'll let you see it again. And I don't need to tell you that looks excellent. Try and get a light over it so you can see for sure. That's what it looks like in the pot. Okay, so Baby Doll's macaroni and cheese recipe, which I tell you, it did not need messing with, but what we did tonight worked, and that's if you want to do it, you know, at the same time, which works out better for her not to, and it might for you. It works. It really is fantastic, and I know how it is the way she does it. In fact, when you're in a room full of, we have 25, sometimes up to say 35, 40, we have a lot of people here on Sunday. And when you're in a room where something's new been brought out and people are going around and you hear several people saying, man, have you tried that macaroni or any recipe? Well, that's what this was. And I'm not, she's my wife, love her to death, and I'm not trying to prop her up. It was that, and she's got a couple, and it elevated her in the family. I'm telling you, it did, and it can do it for a lot of people. Macaroni and cheese is a great recipe. Everybody loves it. This has been a long video. It got a lot longer because I tried to show, and I want you to understand that the way the Instant Pot cooks pasta, nothing wrong with it, or any pressure cooker. So, Ninja, Instant Pot, whatever, but the Instant Pot does it. That's what she uses, so that's what I did. Thank y'all very much for watching mine and her video. And like I said, she's looking for comments. So I appreciate it, y'all. And whoops, there went my pepper. But let me say, I did, oh, by the way, I added a little bit of, while it was still warm, I put a little bit of cheese. Now, I will say this too, I'm glad I brought that up. The cheese that I'm using, or the cheese that we use tonight, and her too, it's been out of the refrigerator for a day, or at least 8 hours, a long time, but better for, at least if you know you're going to use it the next day, set it out. There's no reason for it to be cold, and it helps it melt, obviously, and helps make better macaroni and cheese. Thank y'all very much for watching the video. I'll put one of them over here, or somebody will, Google, whoever, there'll be another video for you to watch, and my big head for you to subscribe right here. I love y'all all. I'm going to taste this, but take my word, it's perfect. You could eat that by itself, but the macaroni and cheese is excellent. Thanks again. Y'all come back to see me. Love y'all all. Bye-bye.